Hello there, and welcome to a new episode of the Fluent English Pro podcast. My name is David Perez, and today we are covering a very particular skill, which is reading in business contexts and work contexts. Because yes, this is different than if you were reading in an everyday English context. Good? So let's get started. Why is reading essential when it comes to business and when it comes to work? Well, first, because you have specialized type of documents when you are at a work setting. You have contracts, you have reports, you have presentations, you have keynotes, you have emails, you have statistics, you have analysis, you have white papers, etc., etc. So these are types of content and types of document that specifically occur within the context of business English and work English. Yeah. So that is why it's important to focus on this skill. Another reason why it is such an important skill is it will help you with communication, both internally with team members and other people in your company or in business, and externally for communication with clients and providers. The better you're able to read emails, reports, and all these type of documents, the more comprehension you're going to have and the better the communication will be with other people you have to interact with. And thus, of course, the more efficient responses you're going to be able to create. Good? Very important. Last but not least, we have the benefit that by reading more business and work English documents, you are going to heavily expand your knowledge on vocabulary and concepts that pertain to business English. And specifically, you're going to improve your business English vocabulary, your work English vocabulary. So it's a win-win, yes? You improve both your English and your overall business knowledge bank. Yes, the concepts you learn about business. Okay, how can you start becoming familiar with business and work content? Because there are so many things and so many different types of articles and documents and analysis and reports you can read. Where to start? I'm going to tell you where to start right now. The first, you are going to look for news. You are going to look for online newspapers or specialized websites that publish news about business. And if you have a particular area of business you're interested in, yes, say for example technology or textile or manufacturing or car building or whatever, so you can look for news in that aspect. Usually news have a certain level of specialization, but they are not extremely technical, meaning that it can be a good introduction to new concepts and new vocabulary without being very, very hard or without being difficult to understand at all. So that is a very good source. Online newspapers and overall websites that have news about industries, yes, and business overall. The other sources for this type of information is LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, well, you might want to reconsider it right now and open an account, because there are companies and individuals over there publishing a lot of specialized knowledge, specialized articles, specialized updates in the area of knowledge, in the area of work and business that you are interested on. So if you connect with these people, if you follow these people, if you follow these companies, it is going to be very easy for you to get both insights on what's going on in business at the moment and on new vocabulary and expressions. So every time I speak about improving your business and work English vocabulary, that is very closely related to you also expanding your knowledge on business and work overall. So it's a win-win situation. Finally, kind of a simpler approach. This is just read the manuals, basic manuals and basic like introductory emails or presentation emails or this type of basic communication you have at work. You can look for those. You can look for emails where new team members are introduced, where new projects are presented, stuff like that. Things that are not very specialized, just things that are very introductory level. Yeah, something that is like opening the door to a project or something like that. So you can start by reading those. And very important, do this on a consistent basis. Yes, you have to do this frequently, constantly, take time. And you don't have to do this as a separate part of your work. What I recommend is the same learning you do for your work and business and industry in your native language, just shift it to English. So you're doing the same things just in English. You don't have to do a separate task for this process. Key strategies for making reading easier. The first thing is, maybe you remember this from school or university, skimming and scanning. Yes, just taking a quick look at the document. By taking a quick look at the document, you don't read it yet. You just take a quick look. You're going to see, okay, this is an article. Oh, this is a report. Oh, this is an email with an urgent request. Or this is an introduction to a new team member. Yeah. By taking a quick look at it, you're going to be able to define what type of document you are reading. This is important because different documents have different extensions, different styles, different types of expressions used, different vocabulary. So that's going to be the door for you to know what is coming next. The next point, and this is very easy, is looking for keywords and looking for key sentences or key phrases. And in this aspect, technical English related to work and business is easier. Yes, it is easier than general English, because in industry language, you are usually using the same expressions, the same vocabulary over and over and over again. So very, very likely the vocabulary you're reading on report 1 is also going to be on report 2 and report 3 and report 4 and on and on and on. So technical vocabulary is usually limited if compared to general English vocabulary. And that makes it easy. So the terms specific to your work or to your industry are going to be familiar and they are going to be used and repeated over and over and over again. Similarly, when it comes to emails and communication, the formulas are repetitive. Yes. So you're going to have expressions such as SAAP, yes, as soon as possible, or as per our last email, so on. Or I am afraid, blah, blah, blah. Yes. So these types of formulas that you use in communication are going to be used over and over and over again. Like you don't have to invent something new every time you're going to write a new email. Now, how do you continue expanding your vocabulary, and how do you specifically learn new vocabulary from the context? There are different strategies you can use. I'm going to mention just a few of them. The first is context clues. Context clues. If you don't know the meaning of a specific word, it is very possible that the idea that is around it or that vocabulary that is around it is going to give you, if not the precise definition of what the word means, something very close that is going to help you build a complete idea. So observe the rest of the text, observe the surrounding ideas, and then you're going to be able to have a precise or approximate idea of what that word is. And then you can confirm with a dictionary, of course, depending on the urgency of the situation. Maybe you can just proceed if you have clarity that you know what the requirement is. So it's contextual. It's contextual, yes, but most of the times you can just double check on a dictionary, and you will usually discover that your guess, that the idea you had about the meaning was correct. On the same note, something that is very useful is keeping a vocabulary journal. This helps you register the word that you just learned, but also register how you use it. So very important. Don't just put the word or the word in the definition or the word and the translation, because that's not enough. Put the word with an example of how it is used. You write the word down and you write 1 or 2 sentences or expressions that illustrate how the word is used, how it applies in context. Because this is important, because we don't learn vocabulary, usually we don't learn vocabulary in isolation. We learn vocabulary in context. And the next step is, because you have your journal, you have a record of new words, the next step to expanding your vocabulary is using those words in real life contexts, in real life scenarios. Now, the next time you're going to write an email or you're going to write a report, introduce 1 or 2 of those new words into the text. Of course, you have to be sure these words are relevant and are helpful to the clarity of the message. If they are, then go ahead, use them. Many times, I am sure they are going to help you convey a clearer, stronger, more efficient message. Other recommendations besides these ones. As I mentioned, consistent practice is essential. If you do this one time and then forget about it, of course, you're not going to have a lot of progress. You might learn a few things, but not a lot of progress is going to be achieved. So just transform your environment. Do the same things you do already in your native language, and now you do them in English. Read business content, emails, reports, articles. Yeah, read business content in English. Do it. Exposure. I think the key word here is exposure. Use a lot of exposure. Be exposed to a lot of content. Yeah, that relates to the area of knowledge you want to expand vocabulary on. Then another exercise, and this requires a little bit more time. It is, if you happen to have business communication in English with somebody via email, analyze the emails you have sent, analyze the emails you have received, and try to rewrite them. Yes? What are other ways the client could have expressed that idea? How would you have expressed that idea? Yeah. So by rewriting, you're going to be able to use other formulas, other expressions in the same contexts. Finally, and I have to mention here, this is not a sponsored piece. Yes, it's just recommendations I am adding. You can use apps or you can use online tools to record new words, to keep track of the reading you are doing, of the learning you're doing. Then you can go back and see how much you have progressed. This is a very interesting thing because you get to see how your consistency, your consistent work has helped you improve your English level. That is all for the moment. Just as a recap, few important ideas. Exposure is very important because you have different types of texts in English. So experimenting with those different types of texts is going to be essential for your growth. Then learning business vocabulary in English is also learning more about business. You're going to cultivate your skills and your knowledge, and you're going to improve your English language skills. So it's a win-win situation. Then after that, record new vocabulary. You can guess what the vocabulary means based on the context, but you can also write it down and then use it in real life scenarios. And as final practice, exposure, exposure, exposure. Use existing communication or existing emails for you to experiment other ways of expressing the same ideas, and convert your communication environment to an English-speaking one. All the learning you do, all the courses you take, all the articles you read, start doing that in English. All right, that's all for now. If you would like to learn more, subscribe. Subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, on wherever, just subscribe. And if you know a person that you say, hey, this person is going to like this podcast. This person is going to learn a lot from this podcast because I'm sure he or she needs this information. So what you do right now is send them the link and tell them, hey, I found this amazing podcast. The host, David, he's so awesome and he's so handsome. And no, just kidding. Just don't talk about me. Just tell them about the podcast. Tell them the information is valuable and ask them to subscribe. That's all for the moment. See you on the next one and goodbye.